My name is Van, and welcome back to another representation. And today I am going to talk about the hiring process. And also, I will be talking about the hiring process in DOS Incorporation, which is the company that I am working with in order to conduct this research. Now let's look at steps in the hiring process and how they can improve the firm profitability. So to begin, what is firm profitability? According to Investopedia, firm profitability can be measured by the amount of money that a company earns from investment activities. In other words, it considers the company abilities to produce return on investment. So in order to make money, time is also a crucial factor. Time is directly related to the firm profitability because people need time not only make money, but people also need time to do every other task in their life. So the two most important factors that affect the firm profitability is money and time. Secondly, what is the hiring process? So according to talentlift.com, hiring process refers to the process of finding, selecting, and hiring new employees to a company. And that's just simple as that. So now let's dive deeper into steps in the hiring process and how they can improve the firm profitability. So the very first step of the hiring process is to identify the hiring need. So which basically mean the HR team will have to evaluate the company's needs for jobs, skills, competencies, etc. So they will know what job positions and skill that the company expect from the candidates. And there are two smaller steps in the identify the hiring need steps, which is write a recruitment plan. So this step shows steps in the process and how they should be performed. This will help the recruiters to know what to do during the hiring process. And the second step is to write a job description. So this task basically means to tell the candidates details about the job offer, what they need to do, what skills they should have in order to do the job. Does the job require any unique experiences? With if the HR team identify the hiring needs step like properly, they will save time for job advertisement, as the recruitment team already know detail about the requirements for the job, so they just have to deliver it to the candidates. Secondly, the candidates will know how suitable they are for the job and decide whether or not they should apply for the job. So it will save plenty of time for the screening process. The second step in the hiring process is to advertise the job. So in this task, the HR team will have to make the job offer appear to candidates that are looking for jobs. And they will also have to find the right source to do so, either online or offline. For example, if the company are looking for the jobs at the IT department, they will have to find candidates with IT certificate. So if they do this right, they will maximize the amount of people that can reach the job offer and minimize the amount of money that's spent on advertising. And they don't have to waste time for inadequate candidates. The next step in the hiring process is resume screening. So in this step, the recruiter will have to look through the applications and choose the suitable candidates based on their educations, experiences, skills and knowledges, and competencies. So this step will help the company to choose the right candidate for the job, and it will save time and money for the following steps. For example, you don't have to waste time and money to interview the relevant candidates. The fourth step in the hiring process is interview. So this step will normally have 3 rounds. And in the first round, the recruiter will provide questions to know more about the candidates, their real-life skills and knowledges, and determine if the candidate are fit for the job or not. And in the second round, the candidate might have a chance to meet the departments of the company, and the recruiter will also provide deeper and more specific questions to follow up from the topics at the first meeting. The goal of this step is to see how well a candidate can cope up with the company's environment, and do they really interested in the job. So in the third round, the company will want to see whether the candidate have gained more knowledge about the company or not, and they might also want to know how a candidate can fit him or herself into the environment of the company. So this proves that the candidates are interested in the job because they have thought about the job, the company, and how should they fit into the new working place. In other words, they have imagined themselves working for the company in the future. So the interview process will help the company to find the finest employees so they can contribute to the company and bring plenty of money to the organization. This step will also save time because the new employee might take little or no time to adapt to the company's culture since they have been carefully selected by the interviewers. This will also reduce the amount of money spent on training process in the future because the candidates might have self-learn ability, which is highly valued by the recruiters. So the next step in the hiring process is background and reference check. So in this step, the recruiter will check all the available information about the candidate in detail. And to do this, they will have to contact their co-workers, former employees, educators, or supervisors to check to see if the candidate have any unusual activities in the past, for example, sexual harassment or workplace violence. And they will also do this to verify information that the candidates provide at the beginning, and they will also find ways to maximize productivity by looking at their previous performances. So this step is done to avoid threats in the working environment or harms in the firm profitability that might occur in the future. For example, the candidate might have a history of sexual harassment or workplace violence in the past, or they might be a lazy or arrogant employee according to their previous employers. So if this step is not done carefully, all this will affect the performance of other employees or the new employees or the candidate own performances, and it's not only lead to poorer firm profitability but might also affect the relationships among employees in the company. So the very last step in the hiring process is the job offer. So in this task, the employer will provide detail about the job salary, schedule, benefits, paid time off, start date, potential severance pay, working remotely policy, included company equipments and other terms of conditions of employment. So these steps is done to let the employee know how can they benefit from working in the company and what they can do within their right. And it will also avoid conflicts with with the employee in the future. So if this step is done properly, the new employees won't have to find the information about their new jobs and positions. So it will save time for the new employee so he or she can have more time to adapt to the new working environment. And as you know, the quicker he or she adapt, the longer the time they will have to make money for the company. So now let's look inside DOS Incorporation and see what their hiring process look like. So first we will look through the strengths of the labor market. So the first strength of the labor market is that the employees are hardworking and young, especially the youngsters from other provinces except Hanoi. And there is a large number of IT labor force. This is due to the gloom of technology. So as you know, technology have become an indispensable part of our lives. So it comes with numerous job opportunities. And the majority of people in Vietnam, they want to have a stable and peaceful life. So they choose to follow the IT career. The last strength of the labor market is that we have a very competitive cost in hiring, much lower than other developing countries. As you can see in the picture, we have a comparison between the hiring cost of Vietnam, Mexico, and China. And this will attract the international firms, and the labor force will become extremely competitive. Now let's look at the strengths and weakness of DOS incorporation in the hiring process. So their strength is that they can provide a fast and flexible recruiting process. For example, they offer interview even in the weekend and also flexible between online and offline. So this is a very important factor as the candidates will feel that their opinions are respected. So they will be very happy to work in a company where their ideas and thoughts are listened by the others. Uh, and also their will to do their best will highly increase in this environment. They will also be more open to other employees, which help to create strong relationship between employees. But however, their weakness is that they don't have a strong employer brand in the IT field, so they are struggling with convincing the candidate to accept the job offers since the candidates can choose the bigger or more popular companies. So in a stage where there are a lot of IT employees, but the labor market is so competitive, the weak employer brand of DOS Incorporation is a significant weakness as the other companies will attract most of the talented employees, while DOS Incorporation is left with the less talented one. So I've asked Mrs. Hong, who is the Chief Human Resource Officer of DRS Incorporation, three questions. And the first question that I asked her is, does DOS Incorporation look at students' grades or degree during the hiring process? So her answer is no, because according to Mrs. Hong, there are so many cases where the candidates possesses very valuable degrees, and they did excellent work at school, but there are lack of many important skills, thus they are inexperienced. So the company have to invest a huge amount of money and time in order to train them. And Mrs. Hong also said that whatever degree a candidate might have, it's just a starting point to their career path. And the degree and student's grade can only show that a candidate is a good student, but they don't show how well these students can apply their knowledges to work. But however, there are some exceptions. With the specific jobs such as IT, finance, accounting, etc. DOS Incorporation still need to look at their degrees to make sure that the candidates can do good at their jobs that they have been trained to do. The second question that I asked Mrs. Hong is that, would your company hire a candidate for a management position if they had all the required skills but no bachelor or master degree? So her answer is yes, because as mentioned above, you can tell that the degree is not an important factor in the hiring process of DOS Incorporation, and it's just the starting point to one's career path and does not really represent a person's ability to produce solid performance at work. And there are many more important factors that DOS Incorporation value rather than the degree, which are competencies, skills and knowledges, experience, and the most important thing, cultural fit. So the last question that I asked Mrs. Hong is that, does your company use structured or unstructured interviews when hiring? So she said that DOS Incorporation use unstructured interview based on fixed standard. And in their opinion, each candidate and each job has different features and requirements. So the interviewers should be flexible in the interview method to engage candidates as well as verify the matching of candidates with job requirements. And that is the end of my representation, and thank you for listening. See you soon.